Everything will be evident tomorrow. When the future is appropriate, the reasons for this and whether this channel would turn extremely bullish or bearish tomorrow are unanswered questions. Guys, inflation, often known as the Consumer Price Index, CPI, is the only factor responsible for it. The data should soon be accessible to the public. 8:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Monday. Therefore, it's wise to remain vigilant or at the very least watch it. It will be discussed in the video that will be presented today. Some are currently working to spread the word first, while others argue that perhaps everyone wants the information to be available before making a decision. It's crucial to remember that the Consumer Price Index, CPI, should provide us with data on inflation tomorrow, the day before the June Federal Reserve meeting. The core CPI has been rising over the past 3 months and is predicted to reach 2.9% in May. After giving it some thought, I answered, no, this is a. Is it a joke? Hey, check out this betting market. Similar to how Bitcoin has been for a few weeks, many people are placing bets that inflation will continue to rise. Many wager that if inflation remains at 2.9%, it will do so in the future. And guess what? Bitcoin will continue its current trajectory until tomorrow, when a fresh report has been released. The rate was 2.3% the last time I looked, but the issue is that some individuals believe it might increase somewhat in the event of inflation. You bears should be aware that you will struggle if inflation rises above that level. More than a year has passed. All I can say is that, pertaining to it, before it drops below that, it must drop to 2%, correct? Folks, that's what the Fed wants to accomplish. The markets will set new ultimate records if inflation falls precisely to the anticipated level. The value of XRP will soar as a result. To reiterate, don't forget to return tomorrow. What transpires will determine what the markets do next. If core CPI inflation reaches these levels, it will have increased for the first time since January 2025. Do you believe Jerome Powell will act if he notices that inflation is increasing? Being overconfident apart from that, I'm interested in what Jerome Powell will say tomorrow. In your opinion, why will it be higher? Does the high number of bettors mean that it will be higher? However, how is that even feasible? Is there a chance that inflation may begin to increase once more? If yes, what causes it to occur? Other people are also talking about this. Real inflation is included in this group. It is somewhat odd that some individuals are claiming that inflation is not the true cause of this. We're all set as long as tomorrow's figures fall below the federal government's target, which might be the dollar or another regional benchmark, whether it's 3%, 2%, or something else. Our acquaintance is becoming unmanageable for the prince. Is that logical? Is he going to lose everything, in other words? Indeed, I find it intriguing that you brought that up, in case someone down here decides that it's time for us to move higher. If it surprises me, I might pop a VIX. This chart has long since slipped my mind. Well, I haven't looked at this chart in a while. The S&P 500 men are what they are because of this degree of volatility. Well, the volatility index indicates that stock prices will decline or dump as market volatility increases. This is what happens when we observe this pump going berserk. Instead, the stock market declines when this occurs. It's actually rather odd. While I review this chart, kindly wait. All of these lines were drawn by myself a long time ago. Alright, everybody. We're at support now. If you will, people can still try the help desk support. As an illustration, if inflation drops below X, the figure report must be raised to the appropriate level if it is less than X. In my palms, it's crumbling. However, it will have succeeded if it makes it higher and doesn't fall, you'll hear it squeal with delight. I guarantee that by tomorrow, everything will be understood. Regardless of that figure, rising costs over the prior month lead me to believe that increased to 2.3%. However, if the final count is more than 2.3, there is bad news ahead. I predict that XRP will shortly drop to a new low of less than 160 in the interim. Definitely, though not yet on that precise date, it will happen shortly. No more than a few months. Stated otherwise, we have to. I can only hope and pray that inflation continues to decline. I have no idea how to accomplish that. I find this fascinating because I thought I was insane when I saw the betting market's prediction. According to numerous prominent figures, including Elon Musk, President Trump's tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of this year. I will thus ensure that this call is not missed at this precise moment. Not at all, absolutely not. Do you always have a bad opinion? For the record, I find it really strange that he decided to remove it. Is it your opinion that they want people to be cruel? Why, therefore, did he behave that way? Doesn't it appear that the primary topic of conversation today was tariffs? It is significant, and are we all prepared for Gerald Powell to appear on one of these? Next week will be even more crazy. The United States and China have reached a consensus on the key elements of a new trade agreement following 2 days of negotiations in London. This one has so far seemed to be doing well. Nick claims that the U.S. Secretary of Commerce has informed him that the trade negotiations with China are proceeding smoothly and will continue all day. The discussions may continue into the following day if necessary, right? However, inflation is, in my opinion, a far more serious issue than this. In addition, there are numerous trade. Many sales as well as other items. Boo-hoo, we're going to wait until inflation comes down, even if it takes 5 years, is what the Federal Reserve will say if it doesn't, as they control the economy. They will have to force it to occur if it doesn't develop organically. It shouldn't take long, in my opinion. A decrease in business activity to lower it. The Chinese Commerce Secretary stated that the United States and China have signed a trade agreement. The agreement was reached in Switzerland. Do you too think that they are utilizing all sorts of positive news to raise market prices? Furthermore, the current query is most likely whether ought to accomplish their goals. According to reports, the day states in Mexico are nearing an agreement that would, up to a certain point, cut import duties on steel in half. The CPI figures will be available to the public tomorrow. Why is there so much positive news these days? The icing on the cake. The dessert tariffs, in my opinion, are both the most significant aspect of this predicament and its icing on the cake. However, the CPI is what counts, isn't it? The most crucial factor is the CPI. I'll overlook it even if I honestly don't know what Trump is up to. According to CNBC, the price of Bitcoin will skyrocket. For the first time ever, it will surpass $100,000.